Today is Tuesday, April 12th, 2022. This is the Selectmen meeting here at Town Hall. Please join with me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, Mr. Weeks, do you mind reading this week's announcements?
Absolutely. All right, so special and annual town meeting is scheduled for May 2nd, 2022, 7:30 p.m. to be held at the Hanson Middle School Auditorium. A reminder to all town of Hanson residents that fourth quarter 2022 real estate and personal property taxes are due on Monday, May 2nd, 2022. Town election is scheduled for Saturday, May 21st, 2022, from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. at the Hanson Middle School. We're also looking for citizens at large to become members of the newly revitalized Bylaw Review Committee, and volunteer applications may be found on the town website at www.hanson-ma.gov or by calling the Selectmen's office at 781-293-2131. We have upcoming meetings. We have a Board of Selectmen meeting April 26, 2022, and the town meeting May 2nd, 2022.
Great, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
So the first thing on our agenda tonight is Camp Kiwanee proposal from Miss Margaret Hickey and her swim program. Do you mind coming to the podium for audio purposes?
I have, some bullet agenda for you. So I'll take one for myself, and that is the rest of me. And this is the application, part of the application, I should say. All right. So I wanted to come down to talk about the program for two reasons. One, to put it out there that I'm doing the program and that we are in dire need of doing it. So the bullet points are that it's a 5-week, 1-week session program, 9 to 3, half day is available as well. And I am applying for up to 70 campers per week. I've also met with the Recreation Commission, and they fully approved it. And as with last year, I have said that they can have 2 spots per week, which is 10 free spots for the camp to solicit however they want to do, like with a scholarship or however they see fit. So that's the program. I'm going to give you a little bit about a background about myself. I am a lifelong resident of Hanson. Most of you know me, or that, and know my family. We all grew up swimming at Camp Kiwanee's Cranberry Cove. We learned to swim there. It's a very important part of my history. I went on to swim at UMass Amherst, a Division I program, and did pretty well there. I have an undergraduate degree in elementary education. I have a graduate degree in special education, and I am K through 12 certified. I also am a U.S. swimming coach, which means I can coach Olympians. My brother actually is an Olympic coach. He's the first national coach for the Cape Verde team. Amazing process, little 2-year thing, and he went this past Olympics. So needless to say, we are a highly qualified family, no matter what we say. I also went and got the American Camp Association Director's License this February to make sure that I had every possible certification, if that was not enough, to make sure that this is going to be an amazing thing. I've also recruited 2 of my U.S. swim coaches to be part of the program, one to be an aquatics director, one to be my nurse consultant, and she is a school nurse for Marshfield. So that is her job to do all of that. It is literally her job. And I have my nephew, Mitchell, who is also a teacher and former swim instructor, as my assistant director. So right off the bat, without me hiring my 5 or 10 local people, I'm hoping to be counselors and swim instructors, we're looking pretty good. I just wanted everybody to, that's up the heads up. So part of the program is swimming. Swimming is a life skill. It is a life-saving skill. Last year, and the year before that, we had a significant increase in the amount of drownings in the state of Massachusetts. And in part because there was no instruction and there's no monitoring. It was a huge thing. I wish I had known earlier, but the governor had grants rolled out. I was unaware of them because I don't know why I wasn't on some list, but it's a huge life-saving skill, and we need to teach our children that. So that's part 1 of the camp. The other part is nutrition and just general fitness, cooperation, all that sort of stuff. The other part is science and nature. So the second half will be exploring nature, exploring Camp Kewaunee and all of its nooks and crannies. We're going to be recycling, reusing, and repurposing things to build things like bubble machines and magnifying glasses to look at water samples, see if we can see, identifying what life is in the water and all that sort of stuff. So this is a pretty significant camp. It is very high skill. It's not a babysitting camp, and it'll be worth every single penny that anybody wants to spend on that. So there's been a lot of chatter on Facebook about the cost, but we're going to have high qualified people to do this. So that is the general stuff about the camp. Do any of you have questions about it?
You may have said this, but, because this is
Yeah.
just like a lot to, through you, Mr. Chair. What was the ages?
7 through 15.
Okay.
So the ratio for the regulations, if it's under 7, you have to have a 1-to-5 ratio. Right now, with my goal staff, it'll still probably be a 1-to-7 ratio, although technically I'm okay within a 1-to-10 ratio. So I'm assuming that maybe some of the 14 and 15-year-olds could possibly be counselors in training, which is another venue. Something that I learned throughout this process is that in order to be a counselor, you need experience at being a counselor, which seems to be circular reasoning. And one of the only things that you can do is be a counselor in training, right? And get experience that way and be formalized. So I'm hoping that some of those kids fit that niche as well. I was originally doing 9 through 215, and many of the people that were positive about it was like, please, I have a 7, I have an 8-year-old, I have a 7, I have an 8-year-old. I'm like, okay. As long as I'm within that guidelines, that's what I was, the 1-to-10 ratio is what I was looking for.
Great. Any other, Mr. Hickey?
Margaret, what about the half-day compared to a full day?
So it's $425, I think I put down for the full day, and $250 for the half a day.
Oh, I'm sorry,
yeah.
Margaret.
Oh, about what?
I'm more interested in the
Experiences?
swimming, nature, and how does that,
So-
for a half-day compared to a?
So it is the goal, and again, and I will have more talks with Camp Kewaunee, as we roll this out, because to my knowledge, they're not running a program this year, and it's more important for me to do this. My original plan was to do more swimming lessons in the morning, but if now that they don't run their programming, I'll have more flexibility to make sure that everybody gets a little bit of both. But again, that's gonna be an ongoing conversation with Camp Kewaunee and whatever they develop. But I have enough staff to do it either way, and again, it's just that conversation with the camp as I don't think they've made a final decision, but to my knowledge, I went to the last meeting, and that they were not running programming.
That's what I thought, and that's why I
Yeah.
asked. I think
Yeah.
that's perfect.
So I mean, the facilities will be maintained, and my staff will, what we take in, we take out. And it'll, I think it'll be a safer place, in having instruction there. So that'll be a conversation that I'll have in the next few weeks. I have applications coming in for both staff and campers right now. So I'll probably ask to have a meeting mid-May or the end of May for camp, just to, ask what what they want me to do. I mean, I'll have the staff, it'll be flexible, so.
Great. Mr. Mitchell?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Do the swimmers have to be from Hanson?
No. I mean, obviously I want Hanson people to be here, and that's the priority, and so I have 500 flyers to go out to the Whitman Hanson School District. Mr. Simonek has already given me permission to put them out there. I want as many Hanson kids doing this, but if I can get 70 times 5, that's a lot of bodies. So, and there's been a lot of people helping me along the way, and so the insurance lady and a few other people who live next door to Pembroke or whatever, they're gonna get a spot, because they've done a lot of legwork with me. But first role is Hanson, and then I need to fill spots, and Whitman, Pembroke, Halifax, because it doesn't really matter. But I would want Hanson residents to do it first.
Sounds like a great program. Thank
Yeah.
you very much.
Yeah.
Ms. Kennett?
Yeah, I'm thrilled that you're bringing this. I'm getting a little nervous, wondering if we're gonna have that little beach wasp problem.
So
And
Yeah.
what's the plan if we do?
So I know that last year, it was on the upper level, not the lower level. So we can still, when you walk into Cranberry Cove to the right, is that there was none of it down there. It was all up on the other part. And I'm gonna tell you, the more it's used, the less they have time to burrow their nests, right? So that's something that we need to make sure that it wasn't used. And so they're like, oh, well, then it's just taken over again, right? Which makes sense.
Yeah.
But if we can get it used, but last year, I was down there all the time. It was like up behind the lifeguard chair and beyond was where the heavy stuff is. And we'll just make sure that if that becomes an issue, that area is roped off and we don't use it.
I was thinking, my God, this
Yeah.
woman's moved heaven and earth to
Yeah.
get this thing. If we-
I have a contingency plan for everything, you know, like,
Okay.
again, I know last year it did not go down to the waterfront, it was up on the main, up by the the bathhouse or something like that, and the kids can go to the bathroom up in the, you know, we'll have a plan for everything.
Okay.
You know, believe me, that document is loaded, but I have extras in my head.
Perfect.
And then my part two is, as I've learned, last year, I had people asking me to do this because we weren't doing the lessons, you know, for whatever reason. This wasn't my plan, you know, I was asked to do it, and I'm doing it, and I still think we need to do it. The application process for doing this was amazingly overwhelming, and I had a lawyer helping me, and so what is on paper and expectations, and then the actual technology, I think, is one of the biggest hurdles. So on that bottom of my little thing is, the last time the application system was updated was in 2004. We are in 2022, people. Only 3 documents were allowed to be uploaded on my 21-page application. That's unacceptable. Unacceptable. So I don't know how we get the money to upgrade those systems, but those systems need, like, we're losing money, we're losing recreation, people are frustrated by it. I've talked to food truck people. That's not a good system, and it has, you know, so I don't know if that's a line item.
So, yep, so, that's something that we are working
Yeah.
towards, because, I always tell the story.
Yeah.
When I became a selectman, the email that I logged into was the same email that I learned to email on back in,
Right.
McQuon School. You know, so we are behind the 8 ball with IT, but now we have an IT director.
Yeah.
That we're trying to upgrade everything that we possibly can within the constraints of our budget.
Right.
So, Ms. Green, if you don't mind just working with, Mr. Mulberg and trying to revamp what we can.
So I actually can give an update. So
Okay,
we did get the grant from the Community Compact IT grant. And we do have Permitize that is working right now with all departments to update all of those permitting systems. So right now, they've completed fire, building is just about complete, so they're moving through the different departments. So it is in progress as we speak, so.
And will
hopefully-
Board of Health be one of them?
Board of Health is one, yes, yeah.
They have the biggest applications, like when you think about these
So
things.
Board
they
of
have-
Health is one, and,
they-
like I said, they're moving through the departments. They're finished too, so yes, Board of Health
they're
is
very
probably
big.
right in line.
So going back to your first ask, which is approve, you would like us to approve procedures and policies manual that provides specific action and feedback in regards to what is required?
Yeah, so you know, like the process of this application, again, is very frustrating because it's the chicken before the egg before the chicken. So in order to have a full, complete application for the Board of Health, I have to hire staff, and I have to have all of the vaccinations, the school health forms for all of the kids. Well, you don't know who you have until you're like 1 or 2 weeks before the camps, right? So I talked to the Rainbow Camp, and they did say the Board of Health only comes up, you know, the week before the camp opens to finally certify, you know, the camp. So I would like that the procedures and all policies are okay now, and then the final okay is all of that, the applications from the campers and the applications from the staff, you know, the Corys and the Sorries for them, and all staff have to have the health stuff as well, and all of that sort of stuff. That's my thing, like, from peace of mind, I'm doing this on my own. This is my money. I'm a school teacher. I'm a public school teacher. My husband's a general carpenter, doesn't work for the union. Like, the insurance for me, I'm paying the insurance. I am doing this for the town of Hanson. And for my peace of mind, knowing that this is sort of like okay for me to go, I'm taking a huge leap. And then the community is taking a huge leap. I'm getting applications now. You know, like this whole, there has to be a tiered system of approval that makes sense, like your procedures manual, which is one, which is all the, lost child plan, lost swimmer plan, fire evacuation, all of those, which I get, those are totally doable up front. But the second half of that application process of, here's the 70 times 5 weeks, which is what, 350 applications with all of their things, to be done the day or the week before the camp opens, seems to be not logical to me. You know, and that's what I'm asking for guidance, like, we have a two-tiered approval for moving forward with this camp. Does
So-
that make sense?
Yep, so with this, these
Yeah.
policies and procedures are Board of Health
Yes.
policies and procedures.
Yeah.
While we are duly elected
Yeah.
bodies, we can't really oversee anything with
Right.
Board of Health. But what we can do is support, what you're asking of, let's try to expedite the process rather than wait last minute.
Right.
And we can definitely vote on that to say, we're gonna support you in this. And then we can also ask Ms. Green if she has any time, with town meeting coming up.
Yeah.
She's a little bit, busy, but nonetheless, she can help in whatever manner she can. Unfortunately, I think that's realistically,
Yeah,
Ms. Kement?
Mr. Chair, we do have our health agent, and we also have a member of the Board of Health here. And I agree, it's not our purview. Hear what you're saying,
Right.
and I don't think anybody would disagree that, you know.
Right, and I'm trying to help them, because they're in a bad place by not being able to, like.
But may I, through you
Yes.
to Mr. Amato? Mr. Amato, I'm sure you can appreciate that she's gonna have rolling, applications. And that there's no way for like the August 12th session that she's gonna have all of that information by whatever date it's needed, say the end of June or something like that. How do you handle it for the other camps? Is that like a rolling type of thing, or?
This is all state regulations, there's no piece of regulations listed at all. And mostly, information has to be uploaded on a system, and it goes directly to the state. And I think the only thing I reviewed is somewhat, and really think I was gonna talk about today, what was lacking, I saw was an up-to-date fire evacuation plan.
And the fire chief approved it.
That was last year's approval. I looked at the plan, I should have brought notes, I didn't realize we were talking about that. And the insurance is a very important part of town, naming the town,
Yeah.
Six additional insurance.
Yeah, again, I'm not gonna pay for the insurance until, like, if the policies and procedures are all set, I will pay for the insurance. Does that make sense? Like,
Yeah,
it's sort of
so-
like the chicken or the egg.
right, so.
Yeah, we got a little off track, but
Yeah.
I basically was just
Yeah.
asking, so what you're saying, Mr. Amato, what I'm hearing you say is, that you don't have a lot of ability to reinterpret these rules?
I've looked at our whole application.
Yeah.
I wasn't ready to speak on it tonight, but, like camp, the Rainbow Camp.
I talked to the Rainbow Camp.
Program, I told you to speak to them.
I did.
The program is, completely intact. So when I go there, they're people, they have a lot of volunteers, and everything's set up a month before time. Because they know 2 months ahead of time who's going there and whatnot. Ours is more like spur of the moment. I have that latitude to give you, but, the important part of the state, like, adhering to Kristen's law, that law passed in 2007.
Yep, have that, it's in there.
So you have to, I was questioning about the life jackets on that particular thing there, Kristen's law, the fire thing was last year's, and certificate of insurance, and there's one or two other things, and I did
So,
call a
I'm
couple
sorry,
times.
no, that's just my fault.
Voters at any time, in the next few weeks.
That would be awesome.
I mean, you've addressed more issues, but as far as personnel, the cores and stories have to be done before anything happens, and the people you're actually gonna have.
I'm wondering whether Ms. Cameron Hickey could come to the Board of Health meeting, a Board of Health meeting, to talk about what it is that you guys need, and on the record here, what is needed. And probably Rainbow is a little bit different, right? Because that's a club, you belong to the club.
Right.
You're gonna know at the beginning of the year whether you're going to camp there, probably.
So I did talk to the
Yeah.
executive director, who was the director for many years, and I ended up working with her. She said, like, the final approval doesn't happen until a few days before, and she doesn't hire her staff until a few weeks before. Like, she's not sure. That was what she had told me, but I'm still just asking for, like, a two-tiered approval thing. Like, there's a policy and procedures manual, Here's the checklist. So I am a special educator. I fill out a zillion forms every day. That's my job as a special educator. If I fill it out and something is missing, the application says, you're missing X, Y, and Z. Please go back and you're missing those items. It goes back to the, the online application system. Make the job easier of the agent as well. I've gone through my checklist. I have those items in my checklist. And to my understanding of I believe that I have all those items. You know what I'm saying? So, but if his eyes don't see it, but an online one will make sure that it's there. You have this document that is uploaded. And that it's a double safe system. And then, once the policies and procedures manual is A-OK, then I hire my staff, and then I do the queries and sorries, and then I do the camper health forms, which is the final thing that everybody needs, right? But there seems to be a glitch with how that information is shared, and like, how do I know what I'm missing?
So I'm thinking
Yeah.
that perhaps it would be best, maybe for Mr. Amato, yourself, and maybe perhaps a member from the board here. I know that this is now really hand-holding, but it sounds like that's what we kind of need, is just to set up a meeting, go through, see what the Board of Health needs, see where we can support you in any way that we possibly can,
Right.
and then go from there. So I think maybe perhaps, Ms. Green, could we set up a meeting, a member from the Board of Selectmen, Mr. Amato and Ms. Margaret Hickey, and kind of run through the application? Ms. Diaz?
I think part of what her problem is that the system is antiquated.
Correct.
Well, that's why,
Because it doesn't, it says you need 6 documents, but it only allows you to upload 3.
Right.
And I don't know where we are on the list
I can find out tomorrow.
and how fast that process is going to happen. That might help out.
Right, and if that system does that checks, like, again, that's part of my job as an educator. I upload special ed legal documents all the time, and it tells me, you missed that one, please go back in and do it. It makes everybody's job so much easier, and it doesn't become personal. It's like, this is a systems check, this is a safety check. And again, when I looked at this in 2004, for like our health, that's, we need to upgrade the system, and I'm glad that it's gonna happen now, and I think it's gonna make so many people's lives happier,
So, Mr. Hickey?
And through you, Mr. Chair, but I think you're onto something, because if Arlene is saying there's a problem with the system, Margaret is saying there's a glitch, we have to have a manual meeting.
Yeah.
Not so much hand-holding, like you said, but dot the i's and cross the t's, because if only 3 documents can get uploaded, but Margaret has 6, but the glitch is that it's not accepting your 6, then...
21.
And we have to go back to manual, non-computer stuff.
The
where,
old-fashioned way.
Gil and Margaret, or, whoever, are sitting there, and there's all the paperwork.
Right.
And it can all be photocopied or pictures taken of it.
Yeah, so when you look at this copy that I did this year, and again, I try to learn from my mistakes last year, is that I literally took the checklist he gave me last year and the codes, and put code number .090. I copied and pasted my procedure and plan into that. Next one, and I did it in the identical order in which he gave me the checklist, so that all he had to do was go chick, chick, chick. But again, that's those, yeah.
Well, for state regulation, it has to be uploaded to our system, and camps usually upload it. And the whole idea was getting together is to go over each item, like we did last year.
Yeah.
And I have to keep using the Rainbow Camp. They're all volunteers and all professionals, so when I go there for my meeting with them, the reason why it's such short notice, because there's like 3 or 4 directors there, and the medical people, they have everything's all laid out for me, so when I go there, that's why it's such short notice. But, I emailed you, I guess I called somebody a couple of days ago.
Okay, I didn't get him.
I called Joanne.
Okay.
Let's get together.
Okay.
We could review everything like we did last year. Like I said, we only spotted like 4 or 5 different things that really have to be.
Yeah, which is nothing at this stage of the game.
Our system gets uploaded to the state system, so.
And so how do you have to take my,
She's on vacation.
oh yeah, so like, but that's my thing is like,
Hanson goes to the state, so.
yeah, but like, so it should, like, again, my perception of somebody who deals with that is that if I upload it into the system, You then don't have to upload it again because it's already in a system for you to then move. Right? And you're, it's,
Application should be, like
But I can't-
checked last week, it wasn't in the system, totally, so,
yeah, because it won't go in.
okay, we'll check it.
So, yeah, right.
It won't upload, it says the document is too large
So-
to
Point of
upload.
order.
Yeah, I was gonna say, so I think let's, because we spent a half hour on this topic
Yeah.
and we have a big agenda
Yep.
tonight. I
would love to just have
If
a
we can
meeting.
set up a meeting between Board of Health, Ms. Hickey, and our board, and just have one member from each, and just run through it, and just make sure you're all set,
Yep.
because there is a glitch in the system.
Right.
And we need to bypass that glitch, and I think that's the manual way, as Mr. Hickey had mentioned. And then we'll upload it to the state, because it sounds like
Right.
the state's portal is working.
Were you looking for a motion for that, and were you looking for a
Yes.
volunteer? Because I thought
yes.
Mr. Hickey
Yeah, I
had
would
raised
like, I
his
would
hand.
like both, yes.
But to volunteer?
Yes. I make a motion that we work with our health agent and with Ms. Cameron Hickey and a member of our board and Ms. Green. And the member of the board TBD, unless somebody's volunteering right now, Mr. Hickey.
I'll second the motion. I'll be more than happy to volunteer if, you guys are gonna meet during the day. Otherwise,
Yeah.
because everybody else is working, I'm available.
Yeah.
So if the meeting, to get this set is during the day, even if it's at night, I'll be more than happy to volunteer.
Yeah, we just, as you know, I'm a public school teacher, I need to take time, unless we do it during April vacation.
All right, so
Yeah.
motion made.
Motion moved, and I second, all in favor? 5-0, and Margaret, I wanna say,
Thank you.
I'm really, really excited to see this program,
I'm
come
ex-
back to,
I'm
well, not come
excited.
back,
Yeah,
but
yeah, yeah.
a
I'm
version of
excited,
swimming
and I'm
coming back.
also feel better about the process that it's, the beginning of April, we have time to make some adjustments and move forward. But again, for me, it's putting light on the technology that is, again, I can't upload it because it tells me my documents.
I'm sorry, Mr. Chair, but do we also need to take a motion to support this program contingent upon her complying with the Board of Health
Yeah,
regulations?
I would love that.
Okay, I'm making that motion.
Moved,
Second.
second, all in favor? 5-0.
Right.
Great.
Thank you guys
Thank you
very
very
much.
much.
Thank you.
Good
Awesome.
luck. All right, next item on the
Margaret,
agenda.
Can I hold on to this then?
You can hold on to that.
All right, great.
Next item on the agenda is the Health
Yeah.
Department budget discussion. And I think that the board was really curious on the transfer station budget, just as, it was between recreation and the transfer station that needed another subsidy. And this has been, an ongoing discussion, and we had asked the health agent to be here, and we're lucky enough to have Ms. Diaz, who is also on the Board of Health, with us tonight as well. Ms. Green, am I forgetting anything?
Nope, that's everything.
Great, Mr. Amato, do you mind coming to the podium and giving us a update?
Basically, we accepted the Board of Health budget. No need for discussion on the Board of Health budget?
What's that?
No need for discussion on the Board of Health budget, strictly the transfer station?
Yep.
Head right into that one. So the transfer station,
Well, there might be a question about the Board of Health,
Yeah.
but I think the big thing was
Yeah.
the transfer station. Let's tackle that one first.
so the board did vote on a sticker fee, $100 sticker fee for a 2-year period. So that's, that's gonna make things look a lot better. Meeting with the finance committee, there's $37,000 retained earnings there. So it looks pretty good. We're gonna look at probably meeting with finance committee sometime in July or something and review everything, all the retained earnings that are still, we have and what the stickers are actually generating. The stickers are $100 for a 2-year period and $50 for an extra sticker out of the same address, so.
So
Which is gonna generate,
I have a question right there.
Yep.
So, right there, with the fee going up to, $50 per year for a period of 2 years, $100 together, does that close the deficit up at the transfer station?
that's what it appears, that's why we're gonna, the finance committee, we're gonna look at this again in July to see
So,
how many
but
stickers we
before,
sold.
can I
going,
interject real
Brad?
quick? So you're gonna meet in July, in the new fiscal year, we're not gonna try to, we
know
did
that
figure.
the sticker expires, the existing sticker expires July 1st.
Yep.
So we have to re-sticker the town by July 1st. Right now, for stickers we've sold previously, there's approximately 2,800 stickers, which you can subtract like 400 because of lost stickers or, things that weren't guaranteed. So you take that and we'll fix the deficit by that way right there, anticipated revenue.
So I have one question right there.
confused. I don't know how much we're asking for in the warrant.
You mean how much the deficit is right now?
Deficit, yes, I don't know what that is.
Ms.
That was a
Green,
hundred, go ahead.
Ms. Green, do you know that number?
So the cash subsidy right now, free cash subsidy for the transfer station is $165,000.
So they were, excuse me, they were expecting to use retained earnings of 37,000, I think is what the finance committee said. Is that correct in saying that?
37,000?
Yeah.
$37,275.
Retained earnings, use of that.
Yep. In, I guess you could call it retained earnings. 37,720.
That's what they called it, retained, so.
So, I'm not just, I'm having difficulty grasping the math on this. I'm sorry. I don't understand how this is gonna completely solve the deficit.
So what the.
So what we're doing,
So
the
I guess,
existing
Mr. Amato, could I
Yeah.
ask this? So what's the annual operating expense of the transfer station?
okay, we got the total operating expense of the transfer station, requested is 392,027,
392,000.
okay?
Okay.
So, out of that 125,000 is attendance and, the attendance, salaries and wages. So that's, union stuff, that's, okay?
And then this is salary, okay. So.
And then the expense line for utilities, water, uniforms and stuff like that is 9,200.
So, Mrs. Kemet,
So, Mr. Amato, has any discussion been had by the board or any thought given by you, because I believe you're ultimately responsible for the transfer station, for reducing any hours up at the transfer station?
No, we hadn't really discussed that, as we had reducing hours. The main thing is, trying to reduce the cost of things. Our main concern right now is, the whole thing about waste, you gotta get the mainstream waste reduced.
Yeah,
We're trying
I
to
know
do
you
that,
guys are
trying
in
to use the
a tough
mainstream.
position. You're in a-
And,
yeah.
Recycling, more recycling, grants and stuff, trying to get grants and different things. We recently signed a contract with, Big Brothers and Big Sisters. They've taken out, almost 962 pounds of, textile waste, because textiles are now banned from, mainstream waste. So that's the thing that's, helping us reduce things. They're taking household goods, even taking sheets and pillowcases and beds, stuff like that. So that's reducing, some of it, not a lot, but, adding two things, reducing it and getting things out of the mainstream waste. The mainstream waste is the most important thing. Reduce that. And Hanson, residents of Hanson do a pretty good job. They do good recycling and they do clean trash. They don't do nasty trash, so it helps out in the outcome of things. Cardboard's going up, we retain money for cardboard, we do very good with cardboard.
so Mr. Amato, I think it'd be really helpful, and sorry not to
Yep.
cut you off.
It's a lot of information in one point here. We're
Right,
in-
right.
This is a
So
transfer station, so.
do you mind, right? I just want to kind of, just give me 1 second and I just want to spell this all out.
Yep.
So you're saying the total operating cost for the transfer station is $392,000?
Right.
So what incomes do you have up at the transfer station to cover those yearly expenses? You just mentioned that you had cardboard,
Yep, cardboard,
and I know that these are all commodities and prices are
Commodities.
subject to change.
subject to change, yeah. I was gonna get into that in a little bit too.
So you have 392,000, and how much do you project the stickers to cover, for next coming fiscal year?
I think that was like, 200 and, I think we figured it was like, because they expire July 1st, I think it was like 2,500 stickers at $100 each.
So 250,000?
Yeah,
So 100, and
That's
so,
minus expenses, you have to pay for them,
yeah.
you know what I mean?
Oh, to
The
pay to print the
expenses-
stickers?
Pay to print the, yes.
Yeah, the stickers would be in the expense line for the
And
operating, so.
usually we could split the cost over 2 years. So it would be part of one fiscal budget and then the other half part of the following year.
Yeah, so it'd be more closer to about $120,000 a year.
Per year.
Not too.
Per year,
It's
yep.
about, I figured out if it was 2,000, it was gonna be about $100,000.
Can I ask a silly question, though, that I should know the answer to? What are the stickers right now?
The cost?
Yeah.
$30 for 3 years right now. This is the first
Or
time.
until the end of July.
Yeah,
Right,
in July.
that ends, but.
First of July.
The first time we ever had a cost associated with the sticker.
Yeah.
Was 3 years ago, and it was $10 a year.
So it's basically, $10 a year?
It was.
Was,
Yeah,
yeah.
I just want to know what the increase is.
Now it's going up to $50.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah. Just want to see what the variance is. Thank you.
Mr.
We have also,
Hold on,
Is that Joe?
Yeah,
Hold on, hold on.
Right now.
So,
Mr. Amato, I'm sorry. Through you, Mr. Chair.
so just 1 second. So I just want to get the whole picture first, and then we
Okay.
can ask questions. So we have the total expense every year, and then you have stickers, which is going to be $120,000 per year. So now we have, why are you shaking your head, Mr. Hickey?
How much is it gonna be per year?
They're expecting 120,000 for the price of the stickers when people stop buying them. But you have to divide that by 2, don't you?
Well, I already did. So it would be
He already did.
240.
240
Okay.
for
Yeah.
2 years.
240, yep.
120 for,
Yeah,
Okay.
so 120 per year. So that would leave you with $272,000 of a operating deficit. So how else are we covering this deficit?
well, we also have gone up on trip tickets, and,
And how much do trip tickets usually bring in?
oh God, I don't have that money with me.
It depends on the item.
I don't have it on this thing here.
Okay, I wasn't sure if there was an aggregate number
So,
of what,
no,
I know every year it changes, but,
What we did
So-
was, excuse me,
Ms. Diaz,
every item we went up about $5.
okay.
So mattresses, any kind of disposal, we went about $5 per item.
And how much did we bring in last year? Do we know?
I don't know,
Okay.
we have that money.
Okay.
yeah, we're short on some of the financial information. That's why a lot of things we're gonna revisit in July. And, also part of the budget, we had, if you look on the line item, indirect costs, that's, health benefits and stuff that we're charged through the town, which is part of this $125,000. That's additional to $125,000, the indirect costs.
I don't understand.
So what you're saying is.
You don't have a sheet in front of you, do you? But
No.
we're looking at something.
So that's why there's a little bit of confusion, is we don't have
Yeah.
this sheet in
Yeah.
front of us, but, so you said, earlier you said 125,000 is salary lines,
Salary line,
and that's sponsored by the town of Hanson,
Yeah.
correct?
okay, and then we go to, indirect costs, which is, it appears it's estimated at $37,275. That's the health benefits for the employees.
Lucy, make a
Maybe I'll
copy
go to
of that.
pass this one
through
around.
you, Mr. Chair.
I think we might need to postpone
Yeah,
that.
come-
Yeah.
Wait, can I just say
Yeah.
something, please? Mr. Amato, all the stuff that you're mentioning is all included in the 392.
Right.
That's your total expenses.
That's the
So we
total.
don't need the breakdown of each
Well,
employee.
that's what, yeah.
So my question is, that's your total expenses. How much total are we bringing in?
Yes.
Including mattresses, including bags, including everything that's, any dollar that's generated to the Board of Health. What is that total now? I don't want the individual, I
No,
want the
we don't-
total with everything.
I don't
Because I
have
want to
that.
get back
Yeah.
to your original statement that this is gonna cover the deficit.
Yeah.
And looking at these numbers so far, I disagree, and I want to be wrong on this.
So would it be helpful, Mr. Amato, to postpone this conversation for next week's meeting?
Yeah, I would say in a week and a half. I gotta get back together with Finance Committee, because a lot of these figures haven't been generated yet, because we're still in February, March. So these
So-
figures aren't really coming true.
All right, so what I'm gonna ask for next meeting is I want you to come back with a full presentation of, the operating costs,
Yeah,
revenues coming in, and how are we getting to zero? And what are we planning for inflation, thank you, Lucy. What are we planning for inflation? And what wiggle room, what protections are we gonna have? Because if fuel goes up, we know that the cost of disposing things are only gonna go up. So what are we doing to prepare for those increases?
well, our disposal, contract is expired. We're talking about trying to get a hold of ABC to try and renegotiate the contract at a lower value. It was recently sold out, a new company took it over, so they're kind of postponing a little bit
Yep.
till the new, management company gets involved in that, so that's one of the issues.
All right, so but
There's a lot of things happening right now that,
right,
you know, waste
yeah,
management
there's a
change.
lot going on.
Yeah, there is, so.
Mr. Tarvis,
Kurt Tarvis, 491 East Washington Street. How much is the price right now if I wanted to buy a sticker right this exact moment?
It'd be $35.
Be
and it would-
$100.
And it would
Or 30.
expire
And it would, right, and it would
Yeah.
expire.
Yeah.
soon.
And just a statement, it would be definitely good to take in consideration of the amount of people that you very well may lose by raising the sticker that much. When we have trash pickup in this town now, you're gonna lose people, and I think that just needs to be thought of and factored into, I suppose, including inflation, stuff like that, you're gonna lose a certain number of people.
I think he makes a compelling point, honestly.
If you're not hearing it by, going up a few dollars every year or whatnot, you're just boom, doing it that way, and I think that'll turn people off instead of doing it slowly.
Mr. Hickey?
And that's a perfect segue, Mr. Chairman, but I will save that until the 26th. I really only have one question that I think Mr. Amato can answer, and that's the number of stickers sold over the past 3 years. Did I hear you say 2,500?
Yeah, 2,500 is the guesstimate, yes.
Okay. And you're assuming that we would keep the 2,500?
Yes, I'd almost, the whole trash industry is changing now. People that do have trash pickup, if they notice their 95-gallon buckets are now 65-gallon buckets. Some of the, local haulers are saying, hey, we're not making money at the 95-gallon buckets, so now they're jumping down to 65-gallon buckets. So there's a lot of things happening in trash. I mean, most trash companies have been purchased in the last couple of weeks. There's 3 throughout the country, and number 3 is trying to become number 2, so they bought up pretty much every trash company in New England. And so things are changing there too. They're preparing to, move trash out of state. All airspace in the landfills in New England have been taken up, so there's a lot happening in trash right now.
All right.
Prices
Thank
are
you.
gonna change.
So, Mr. Weeks?
Yeah, thank you. So there's a couple things, and I appreciate all the time that goes into this from the committee and everybody that's doing this, honestly. It's a lot of hard work. Just to put my kind of 2 cents out there, if that's okay through you. I have the expenditures, I don't have the revenue portion of the budget.
Yep.
Yeah.
So I just want to say that out loud, because I know that's what I'm missing. This is helpful, really helpful, it is. But, there's a couple of questions that I want to put out there, just to kind of put it in people's minds. We're going from $2,400 with the $30 over 3-year stickers, but then we're jumping to, $100 over 2 years. I get that, but what I'm hearing is that 2,400 stickers are sold, but is that over the 3-year period, or is that over, because
Yeah, it's not all at once.
right, that math's
It is,
gonna
the
matter,
stickers.
so you have to, I guess what I wanna see is, in the revenues piece, is we can say for that first year, maybe, that, because everyone has to re-up, you might get 2,400 that first shot, right? And that might be 250, but again, that has to be split over a 2-year period, at least, right? But then we also have to start projecting on the revenue side, what is the likelihood, to your point, but that 2,400 is not gonna happen the following year. And it's not gonna happen the 3rd year out. So what I need to know is, over the past, for myself, it's not about what we're gonna get in July. I think that's a helpful place to start, because that is when things are gonna jump. But I need a track record of how many dump stickers do we sell per year over the past, 5 years? Because that 120,000 might actually be 60 moving forward, and all the numbers are only gonna go up. So that's only gonna help us and give us a false sense of security moving forward. All other things, I just wanna put it all out there before I forget. It's very rare when I get to jump out and try and grab some good points before Laura sneaks in or Jim sneaks in. So I'm getting them all out now. You guys always beat me to the punch. Other things I wanna put out there, though, are, just the bags. I need to know bag revenue. I'd like to know projections on all the other commodities that we were talking about, but I'd like to see that broken down, not only in what we think it's going to be, but what those have been over maybe the past 3 to 5 years, because that's gonna give us consistency over time. Those are useful stats that we can actually use to project the budget, because these increases are gonna give us a false sense of hope.
Ms. Kemet, and then Mr. Hickey,
So,
and then Ms. Diaz, and
So
then
I
we're moving on.
think we're kind of on the same track here, and I would very much like to hear from Mr. Sullivan, if you don't mind, at some point, because I'm sure he's got some insight. But I think what I'm really struggling with is I cannot wrap my mind around, what are we getting for, like you said, bags, perk, I don't even know all of the revenue streams, but I know there's some revenue streams.
Correct.
But, and how much are we getting, and what are we doing to pump up the volume of what we're getting for revenue? And that's basically what I'm seeing missing is what is the plan to increase the revenue so that we're not subsidizing this, any longer? And so I'm hoping that when Mr. Amato comes back, and I don't know through you, Mr. Chair, to Ms. Green, if you could try to help tease that information, whether it's through Mr. Hassett, whether it's a combination of Mr. Hassett and Mr. Sullivan, but I just feel as though this board needs more substance, in terms of what the plans are from the Board of Health for increasing revenue, and it's just not apparent tonight. And I know, Teresa's not here, and, and Mr. Amato doesn't have all of the numbers that he needs because of that and some other discussions that haven't happened with FinCom. But I'm hoping by the 26th, when we meet again, which is probably gonna be a hellaciously long meeting already, we could talk about this.
All right, Mr. Hickey?
I wanted to answer Joe's questions. First of all, within the last 6 months, the bags have gotten cheaper.
Yeah.
I don't know how they're doing it. They're making it, the bags are cheaper. The 2400, I bought my dump sticker or my transfer station sticker in May of 2021 with 11 months to go. And I actually said to Teresa that I wanted to file an abatement on it because I wasn't getting 3 years worth of trash, so I started with her, but that doesn't happen. So if you bought your dump sticker today, it would be $30 and you get 2.5 months or whatever you get. The other thing that I just, put on paper real quick with the operating expenses being $392, without having the bulk items, we're in the hole 107,000. That includes the 165 if we were to supplement it. Closing the transfer station for one extra day is a savings of only $20,000. I've talked to Todd about this situation, which is why I said earlier, perfect segue, because it may be time to talk about townwide curbside pickup, one carrier. We only have, and we can round the numbers up, 1,750 homes. So, a lot of these dump stickers are apartments or complexes, whatever. I think whether it's the Board of Health or our office, take a serious look. We're losing money. I've spoke to a couple of people, and they all went up. All the carriers all went up. So if we could give the people the service weekly, one carrier, for less than what they're paying now, it's an option.
It's gotta be discussed.
Ms. Diaz?
For 3 years ago, when we first implemented the cost for the sticker, the $30, that generated $20,000 a year. That's the way we spread it out.
Mr. Sullivan, I know you're walking into this conversation. But I figured I'd let you have the last word if you want to add anything, or if you want to wait till next week, that'd also be fine
With
too.
regards to the transfer station?
Yes, sir.
I think Jim made a good point about closing it an extra day. The estimates have varied, anywhere from $20,000 to $40,000 if you were to shut it down for a day, which does add up over time. It lessens the burden on the town. I think the increase in the sticker fees is a step in the right direction. Unfortunately, I think it's also going to push some people away. There are going to be an additional, so it's this catch-22 where you're going to try and capture more revenue, but you're going to lose customers because they're going to realize that there's for some people, not for everyone, for some people it's more it's even, I think we use the term convenience factor. There's a convenience factor to paying for a private hauler that you're willing to do. So for some families it's that difference. Am I paying $100 every 2 years, factor that in with the bags. I don't know how the cost of the bags keeps going down.
I never noted, I don't know.
No, the cost of the bags have actually gone up, Kevin.
You did say down, that's fine.
You did
I
say
meant-
down.
I thought I said quality.
He meant
No.
quality.
The quality, yeah, the quality of the bags,
I was like, wow, that's the first time.
Yeah.
No, I thought you meant quality.
You know,
quality of the bags went down, price went up.
when we first implemented, pay as you throw, it needed an astronomical amount of citizens to participate at the cost that it was, because it assumed 100% usage, and that really wasn't it. And when we talked and discussed it, we knew that about half the town would fall off and just say, listen, I'd rather have it come curbside for $99 a quarter, or whatever it is. And the other thing I would say is that, we've discussed going on one town contract. The issue becomes that once they have the whole town on the hook, you lose the capitalism aspect where you can negotiate your price. So right now, we all have, so I say we, because I have private hauling, but if I don't like the price, a guy comes along and guarantees me that price for a year, I can jump to that guy. And it's truly a buyer's market at best, because once they lock you into the town, I think the estimate we looked at for Whitman pays, $480, I think, for a year. And if you do it private hauling, you can get it now for about $360 a year. So you can negotiate your own pricing, you can look at all those other aspects. And for us, it looked like we didn't want to jump on a town contract, because once they got you, it's going to be impossible to get out. And if they keep increasing the price, we're sort of right back where we started. So, Todd and I have talked about if we ever did have to do something drastic with the transfer station, that we give it a year to settle out and really see what happens, because we don't know the associated costs with actually closing the transfer station. We don't know what kind of environmental cleanup would be required for that space. So there's a lot of unknowns with that. I think, it's not everyone's favorite topic, but closing it another day is a step in the right direction to continue the goodwill that those who use the transfer station and those who don't use the transfer station. It's a compromise, if you will, to close it down. So.
Great. And then one last thing that I would like you to do, if you don't mind, is to benchmark surrounding communities. Because I know when I lived in Kingston for a short period of time, the dump sticker, I think, was $185 just for the year.
Yeah, we're still the cheapest.
And we're the cheapest
Yeah, we're
around.
still the cheapest.
and,
I'm trying to.
So with that being said, I think that might be helpful too, to benchmark.
Yeah.
But I would love to see a business plan where the transfer station is net zero.
Yeah, we'll have to work on that. I
thank
will
you.
say I'd like to say another thing here. We operate one of the best transfer stations in Plymouth County. We meet every waistband possible. We're far ahead of most transfer stations as far as the recycling and everything. Other transfer stations come up with our operation. We do very good at it. We have probably the cleanest cardboard around. Like I said, the trash in Hanson's clean, the recyclables are clean. We do a good job at it, and it's very important that we have this. And you'll see most towns that try to end the transfer station hours, they start reopening them again because of waste bans. You get the textile ban. In the end of this year, possibly beginning of next year, you're gonna have a food waste ban.
Right.
Which schools, everybody else is doing it now. The companies are soliciting people now for the old
So,
swill buckets.
Mr. Amato, just because time is short tonight,
I gotta get my
Ms.
piece there. I
Timmons,
don't-
did you have one question about the, no, you're good?
I'm good,
Okay.
I'm fine.
So
I'd like
with
to
that
just
being
keep
said,
speaking. With that being said, we'll-
with that being said, Mr. Amato, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Next thing on the agenda is to review article warrants and sign them. I think we're also doing recommendations tonight too, is that correct, Ms. Green? So we'll start with the special town meeting. I think it's the last document in your packet. I correlated them tonight, so I, of course, messed that one up.
Sorry about that, we're just, talking about something. Are we looking at the annual first, or the special?
We'll do the special.
Okay.
Um,
So please keep in mind that these documents basically have been a work in progress, and there's been changes to these every single day. As new developments come up, and our town council just sent literally her markups, which we tried to incorporate today. So on the special, Article 1 is for the payment of unpaid bills for the prior fiscal year. So we had two up until yesterday, actually, till this morning. And then when one was forwarded us, regarding this new era IT, so we needed to add that in. The funding sources are going to, change a little bit as we go forward. But we will have the information warrant that will have all of that detail up. But that's the 3 unpaid bills from the prior fiscal year, which would require a 9/10 vote. The second, Article number 2, is for, basically to appropriate a sum of money. Where is that page? Where's page 2?
Mr. Chair, are we gonna recommend, are
Yeah,
we gonna place and
as
recommend?
we're going along.
Yep, so Ms.
Or do you
Green,
want to do it at the end, or?
nope, I was, if you don't mind, I just want to place and recommend.
Okay.
So that way,
Yep.
if there's anything that we're unsure of,
Yeah.
if something is going to
Right.
change or
We'll just
whatever,
place.
we can hold off till,
So I'd like to make a
okay.
motion to place and recommend Article 1.
Second.
moved, seconded, all in favor? 5-0. All right, and then Article 2 is to see if the town will vote, and then you would just have to make sure it's grammatically correct, to see if the town will vote to appropriate and/or transfer available fund, so a sum of money, so we don't know what the money is, just yet, so I don't think we can place Article 2 just yet, to supplement, right?
We can place, we can't recommend if we don't have a
Okay.
dollar
It's got the
amount.
money.
Well, we
Oh, it
ought
does,
not.
okay, it does.
Yeah.
It just says a sum of
Yeah,
money.
it's in the
Yep.
matrix.
On the second page, so on the first page is the article. On page 2, the box at the top
Yep.
will outline each basically department, and the sum of money and what it is. So the box is on the second page.
Okay, perfect. To see if the town will vote to appropriate and/or transfer available funds, a sum of money to supplement or take any action relative thereto. And it's highway and recreation.
So basically snow and ice and the snow and ice deficit and, expenses and salaries for Camp Colony.
I'd like to make a motion to place and recommend, and maybe just review that article. I think the money should go there, but that's just my opinion.
It's written the same way as the first one, though.
Yeah, okay.
Didn't we always have the money in?
Yeah,
It wasn't a sum
I
of
know, it's
money,
just-
it was the exact amount.
yeah.
Yeah.
So, but this is a draft,
Yeah.
so now we know.
Right,
That's all.
yes,
We
this
know
is
for
correct,
the-
yes.
But we can still place and recommend Article 2, just put a question mark on the article itself, please.
Second.
Moved and seconded,
Just,
Ms. Kement?
This is coming from the 22 school assessment.
So,
Elaborate on that?
I'm sorry?
This is coming from the funding source is FY '22 school assessment?
Yes, so if you remember, there was in $300,000 from the FY '22 school assessment. Then this school transportation for first student is an FY '21 school, bill. So that's where the money will come from to pay that bill for that school transportation.
Okay.
That's the infamous 300 and something thousand from last year.
Right.
Oh, boy. Okay.
I'm not going there, that's all I'm saying.
Okay, I have a motion, I have a second, all in favor? 5-0? Yep. Okay. Article 3, to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate $11,000 to purchase a new election equipment or to purchase new electric election equipment to take any action relation to.
Yeah, so moved, and I think we're being invited to take a look at that next Wednesday or something, or sometime next week. I thought there was an email from the town clerk on that, I might have made
Oh,
that
okay.
up.
I didn't see that.
Yeah, recently, I thought,
Yeah, it was yesterday.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I got that.
yeah.
Okay. Well,
I'll second it.
I moved and seconded?
Question,
Yep.
Mr. Chair, what is the funding source?
Free cash.
Free cash,
Free
thank you.
cash, okay. And can we just add that in?
Yeah, we should have a funding source for everything.
And I just want to say, if I'm not able to make the viewing of this possible equipment, can we make sure, just do our election workers a favor, that it's the Cadillac of all election equipment, because when there is two different ballots, the machine can't sort them. And then at the end of the night, the poll workers have to go and manually sort the two different ballots.
Yes, we've done that, Matt.
So, if there is a piece of equipment out there and it's a couple of $1,000s more, I'll be more than happy to, see an amendment for that, so. All right, I just wanted to throw that out there, because there was one night I
Good
helped
point.
out with the two ballots, and it was like, Beth, why don't we have the Cadillac? You know, so, Article 4.
I think
Yeah,
it was
we gotta
moved and
vote
seconded.
on
Oh, move
Yeah.
it, thank you. All in favor? 5-0.
Sorry,
Thank you.
Mr. Chair, I'm sorry, who
Yep.
made the motion on Article 3?
I did.
Laura and Joe.
Yeah, I wanted to make it easier, I'll make all the motions and someone else can second.
Second 'em.
Is that okay?
Yeah, and if
Okay.
Joe will second them, that'd be
Might be
great.
easier for
That
you
would
ladies.
make, that'll make life so much easier.
Before we discuss Article 4, because I do think it's important, this is the article we mentioned last week, that's got to do with the sleeper property and the fact that, we've got the grant that, we may or may not pull that rabbit out of the hat by the end of the fiscal year, but if we don't, we needed a placeholder. And I'm totally fine with having this here, but, just as a point, of, order, the selectmen are not able to propose an article that is the use of community preservation funds. Only the Community Preservation Committee may do that. The Community Preservation Committee is meeting, I believe, tomorrow night, Mr. Clements. And I believe that, I know Mr. Hickey is on notice that this needs to be discussed. And that, and I assume, Mr. Clemens, you'll be there too, through you, Mr. Chair. And so I just mentioned this because we need to say, sort of proposed by CPC, and then we really can't vote to, we can vote to place it, but we really can't vote to recommend until we know, in fact, CPC has voted to put this in. I know it's
Yep, no,
procedural and
it's
technical,
procedure.
but.
Yep, nope, that's
yeah.
fine. So I'm looking for a motion to place, and we'll revisit this next week, Article 4.
With the tweak that it be proposed by CPC.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, all in favor? 5-0. Article 5, to see if the town will vote to authorize the Board of Selectmen to purchase, acquire, or take by eminent domain to raise and appropriate transfer from available funds, either by appropriation borrowing or otherwise, $203,296, which appropriation shall be subject to receipt of fiscal year 2023 land grant, which provides for reimbursement by the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, and further, to appropriate $98,000 from the Community Preservation Open Space Reserve Fund, the combination appropriations to be used to fund said purchase. And I'll just stop right there, instead of boring everyone tonight. It is for 0 McQuon Street, 13 acres. So this is.
It's the same project,
Same
but
project.
it's two different thoughts. One is, a taking
Yep.
of the property, a friendly taking, just so that people don't think we're getting aggressive about taking people's land. And then the other is just to go through the normal process of trying to get the deed straightened out.
Mr. Chairman, I'd
So
like to-
again, this would have to be proposed by CPC.
Proposed by CPC.
Yeah.
So we're just looking for a motion to place this article,
So moved.
not to recommend.
Second.
Moved and seconded, all in favor? 5-0. Article 6, to see if the town will vote to amend the wage and personnel bylaws, Article 2-12, classification and compensation by deleting sections 11A through 11E in its entirety and inserting new sections 11A through 11E as printed below.
I'd like to make a motion to place and recommend Article 6.
Second.
Discussion?
Objection. I think that, on A, the Director of Elder Affairs, that amount is wrong.
You think it should be more?
Yeah. I want to say 35 to 70,000. I mean, I know the director doesn't make that much, but I think that 65 is wrong.
You're not saying factually you're wrong, you're saying we should be offering more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so,
Is it possible to change that?
Well, that's a range, it doesn't mean that's what you're
have to go to
paying them,
wage
but you just can't
Yeah.
pay them
Your
over
wage and
that
personnel.
amount.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, we can put it on the Wage and Personnel Committee, I mean, that's the only way we can change it.
Okay.
Yeah, we can do that.
So can you, so we
That's not
could,
gonna help you for this town meeting,
Yes,
though.
yeah, this would be
No,
for the
but
next one.
I think that number is wrong. I
Yeah,
think it's.
Joe's right, though, this has to be changed by wage and personnel.
Okay.
Yeah, we can't just do
Is it
it.
possible that it's already been changed then?
I think that's what we're trying to figure out. Are you saying this is factually inaccurate or philosophically inaccurate?
I think it's factually inaccurate.
Okay, we have to go back and look then.
yeah, we'll have to look at the wage of personnel.
Yeah.
All right.
We did discuss it at some point. Okay.
Yeah.
All right,
I mean,
so,
we can just place it and you can go back and double check it if
Yeah.
you, if you wanna do that, Jim.
Sure, I'll do it,
Yeah.
yep.
yep,
So I'll amend my motion to place Article 6.
Mr. Chairman, a quick question.
Mr. Clemens.
If I may. The wage and personnel bylaw amendment proposed here, does that, the lines here, do they encompass the conservation agent
Yes.
position?
Yes.
'Cause I think there's some numbers there too that are important, and that's, I hope this goes forward. Thank you.
All right, so I have an amended motion.
Yes, just to place Article 6, not recommend.
Okay,
Second.
moved and seconded, all in favor to place, 5-0.
And then if we can just check into Jim's point, and
Yep.
then,
Mr. Clemens.
and then also Mr. Clemens is, about the conservation agent, line, letter E.
All right,
If
perfect.
I may, Mr. Chairman?
Ms. Green.
There's also the library director, is also been changed as well, so there'll be three, there'll be three items that we'll look at, for town meeting and then, but have a wage of personnel so that they can recommend it as well. So you'll see, library director as well.
Perfect, thank you. All right, now going over to the annual town meeting. And if we can keep Mr. Mitchell making the motions and Mr. Weeks seconding, that'd be great, just for minutes. That'd be great. All right, so Article 1 is to hear the reports of various town officers, committees, special committees, and thereon.
I'd like to make a motion to place and recommend Article 1.
Second.
All in favor? 5-0. Article 2, to see if the town will vote to authorize the treasurer collector to enter into a compensating balance agreement during fiscal year 2023 as permitted by Mass General Law, Chapter 44, Section 53F.
I'd like to make a motion to place and recommend Article 2.
Second.
All in favor? 5-0. Article 3, to see if the town will vote to fix the salary and compensation of all paid elected officers and committees of the town as follow, and any relation to.
Motion to place and recommend Article 3.
Second.
Moved and seconded, all in favor? 5-0. Article 4, to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate, or appropriate, is that grammar?
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah, it'll be
by
fixed.
transfer from available funds, a sum of money, a cash to install security cameras around all perimeters of town hall property, proposed by Board of Selectmen.
I think we just need a funding source.
And a dollar amount.
Yep,
Yeah.
I'd like to make a motion to place Article 4.
Second.
moved, seconded, to place, all in favor? 5-0. Article 5, to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate by taxation, transfer from free cash, transfer from ambulance funds, water department revenue, water surplus, Title 5, special revenue fund, MWPAT loan replacement receipts, reserved for appropriation, conservation notice of an intent, overlay surplus, fund balance, reserved for reduction of future excluded debt, to defray charges and expenses of the town, including debt and interest, and provide for a reserve fund for fiscal year 2023, any other relation to.
I'd like to make a motion to place Article 5.
Second.
And we're just looking for funding source and,
So, Mr. Chair?
Yes.
Article 5 is normally our budget. We, hopefully, after tomorrow night, we will have a full budget once we hear, the school, once we attend the school committee. We'll be able to update all those figures. and get it in the informational warrant for
Perfect.
everybody.
So I'm looking for a motion to place.
I think it's already on the floor.
Thought we
Well,
had-
That happened.
Okay,
Yeah, we just voting, I think.
okay, perfect. Five, all in favor? 5-0. All right, Article 6, to see if the town will vote and appropriate and/or transfer from available funds a sum of money to operate the Recreation Department during fiscal year 2023 under provisions Mass General Law, Chapter 44, Section 53F and a half.
I'd like to make a motion to place Article 6.
Second.
Moved and seconded, all in favor? 5-0. Article 7, to see if the town will vote and raise and appropriate, by transfer from available funds, a sum of money to operate the transfer station during fiscal year 2023, under the provisions of Mass General Law, Chapter 44, Section 53F and a half.
I'd like to make a motion to place Article 7.
Second.
Place and, second, all in favor? 5-0. Article 8, to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate or appropriate by transfer from available funds a sum of money to fund the purchase of a generator for library and senior center proposed by Board of Selectmen.
I'd like to make a motion to place Article 8.
Second.
And,
Ms. Scott?
yeah, through, to Ms. Green, I assume we're working on getting a dollar amount on that one?
Yes, it's a very, very slow process. Charlie Baker has been meeting with companies, and literally yesterday, we just got one in for the transfer station to move the generator from McQuon over there, and he met with them about a month ago. So it's a very slow process, so hopefully a proposal and quote for the generator for library and senior center will be
Well, and I'm
coming.
also wondering, can we tweak whatever that dollar amount that you come with? Our ultimate intention is to have this, funded by ARPA money. And I think the article falls short, and I can say that because I wrote it. It falls short on saying that, because at the time, we weren't sure how we were gonna do that. So I think that that's important to, sort of, we'll give worst-case scenario, like worst-case scenario, the town's gonna pay out of pocket X, Y, Z, but our hope is we're gonna get reimbursed and we'll get ARPA money for
Okay.
it. I just think we need to clarify that.
Absolutely.
All right, I have a motion, made, seconded, all in favor? 5-0. Article 9, to see if the town will vote to appropriate or borrow a sum of money to demolish the former McQuon Elementary School.
I'd like to make a motion to place Article 9.
I will second that.
Moved and seconded, all in favor?
Just a quick
Oh,
question before we do
Mr.
that.
Weeks.
Just, do we have any idea what that's going to look like? How are we going to borrow? What is that revenue source?
We don't know yet because the only amount that, was kind of presented was through a prior town administrator, and it wasn't an amount that was, received through quoting or bidding. It was just, I guess, kind of their best guess at the time. So the article is here, but we actually have to go through a bidding process to find out how much it's actually going to cost us.
Right.
And then, talk with the treasurer collector and accountant on what avenue they want to go. And my hope is some of that money will be, we can reason that for ARPA, that it's going to be an economic benefit to the town to tear that down and then show them our plans for that area, so that we would get approved for some ARPA money.
Okay, so we're not
So-
looking to raise taxes on this? We're not looking at debt exclusions? We're keeping to that? No debt exclusions, no?
Hopefully, it depends on
Okay.
how much it is to demolish it right now, because that has to be a full bidding process.
Right.
Mr. Mitchell?
Through you, Mr. Chairman. So if we don't get ARPA money, that's not something that I want to support right now.
That's kind of what I was getting at, because there's a lot of,
We don't have the money, but
Right.
we want it there in case we do. But if not, I think we should, if we can't get the ARPA money, I think we should pass over that. Because what we should do is go out and find out what it's gonna cost, then go to town meeting and say,
Right.
look, it's gonna be $5. Right now, we don't know.
Yep.
And we obviously can't base it on the last town administrator. So if we don't get
Right.
ARPA, then when we come around to recommend these, that's not something that me personally is gonna support.
Mr. Hickey,
But didn't we already go to town meeting and have an amount approved?
I think
We did, but what I'm hearing Ms. Green say is that perhaps was not procedurally correct. in terms of the way that we got the dollar amount, and that we need to revisit how we obtained said dollar amount. And honestly, if we don't have all of that detail, we just wait until October town meeting, when we've got the sufficient detail to, be able to disclose to people what it's gonna look like, and.
All right, so is this something that we just want to pull for
I think-
now,
Place it.
No, place it for now, but we can always pull it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the ARPA money, Lisa would have to get back to us within 2 weeks, or whether that, we're gonna need to know by the 26th.
Right.
So I personally just say, let's
I think
pull it, we
should-
have
I
50 articles.
think I agree. As we're
um,
talking this through, I think I agree with you, Mr. Chairman.
Yep.
I'm fine with that, I was just gonna say, because we already had a motion and a second, but that's fine, I mean, I'm good either way, because
Because you're
There's
not
too-
gonna have
there's too
time
many
to figure
questions.
that out in 2 weeks for the.
Yeah, well, we have to bid it, I mean, I have to put a bid together and get it out there.
So
With
Probably
this
not
type of.
realistic.
Get it approved
So
by,
the summer being able to do this over the summer, I'll be able to really get a bid out there with under the procurement regulations.
Mr. Chairman,
get a
I'd like to
figure and then-
revise, I'm sorry, I'd like to
Nope,
revise
nope.
my motion and not recommend
Well,
Article 9.
actually, as the person who's doing the McQuon Reuse Committee, I'll just remove that, I will vote to remove that article. So we don't
Draw
need to, yeah, okay?
okay.
And then we'll do it,
Do you wanna do you want me to cancel my motion and do a motion
I
to
don't really
remove it?
care, we're gonna get to the same place, so it really doesn't matter.
I just want to
Yeah,
vote.
yeah.
Remove it.
Let's
Yeah,
just
we should remove it.
Just remove it.
Yeah.
All right, so
Second,
So
I'll second.
Yeah, I'll change my motion to remove Article 9.
Second.
moved, seconded, all in favor? 5-0.
Okay, sorry about that.
Article 10, to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate, or appropriate by transfer from available funds, 17,000 to fund promotional exams for the fire department deputy chief and lieutenant, and any relation to.
I'd like to make a motion to place Article 10.
Second.
Moved and seconded, all in favor? 5-0. Article 11, to see if the town will vote and to raise and appropriate or appropriate by transfer from available funds a sum of money to fund the development of a strategic plan.
I'd like to make a motion to place Article 11.
Second.
Moved and seconded, all in favor? 5-0. Article 12, to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate or appropriate by transfer from available funds a sum of money in the amount of $14,000 for grading of private roads to allow fire and law enforcement services safe access.
I'd like to make a motion to place and recommend Article 12.
Second.
Moved and seconded, all in favor? 5-0. Article 13, to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate or transfer from available funds a sum of money to the Highway Department capital account for the following items. F-250 pickup, six-wheel freight line dump and sander for the amount of $299,000, $100,000.
Through you, Mr. Chair, question on this?
Mr. Mitchell?
Lisa, didn't you say he had pulled a couple of things, or did he already pull those and this is what's left?
He pulled those and this is what's left.
Ms. Kemet?
Yeah, Ms. Green, I appreciate that, Mr. Shav has sharpened his pencil and removed some of the items that he requested. But I'm hard pressed. I believe our current deficit, according to a FinCom post that I saw today, was 298,000. And this is 299,000. So it would seem evident to me that, that this may need to be postponed until the October town meeting. I can't really reconcile in my mind, how we can, buy this equipment, with the deficit, and the dollar amount happens to be practically to the penny.
It also doesn't leave us a lot of wiggle room in case somebody makes an amendment on the floor, which has happened a couple of times, and we need to leave ourselves a little bit of room for that.
So, I think maybe perhaps it might be, I mean, just to support our department heads and their requests, I think it might be good to have Mr. Shea come in and explain it, because I'm just reading through his explanation right now.
Sounds like it's dire, I mean.
It sounds like it's dire, you know, it's, one of the trucks is 23 years of age. We have no current backup if this truck goes down for an extended period of time for repairs, which happens quite often with an aging fleet. So I think it might be, I think just to support our department heads where we can, let's ask questions before just ripping, we're not ripping, but withdrawing it from, the article. Mr.
So
Mitchell.
through you, Mr. Chair, so why don't we wait to place and recommend on this? Because on the pickup truck here for the supervisor, I mean, I was on the board when Bob Brown, God rest his soul, got this new pickup truck for the supervisor. And I know the explanation said it's not four-wheel drive, but that's, to me, that's more of a want and not a need. You know, so, yeah, and I do agree with you, you know, we should talk and support our, so why don't we wait, I'd like to wait, skip over this and then have the highway director come in and explain that further.
All right, so
Is that-
is the
that's
board
smart. Yep,
consensus?
absolutely.
Okay,
Yes.
perfect.
Thank you.
Article 14, to see if the town will vote and appropriate, or appropriate by transfer from available funds a sum of money in the amount of $100,000 for the construction of a park perimeter trail, Bay Circuit Trail, relocation onto the former Plymouth County Hospital property as necessary as a preliminary step for reimbursement in the same amount through a state recreational trail program grant.
I'd like to make a motion to place and recommend Article 14.
Second.
Moved and seconded, all in favor?
I'm sorry, through you to Mr. Clements, because conveniently he's located in our audience today. Mr. Clements, was there a thought process to using community preservation money for this, or?
Already has been. This project, it's been stuck in the COVID coma, if you will, for a couple of years. There's already about $30,000 of community preservation funds committed to this. So the total project budget is around 131,000, but the 100,000 coming from a state grant. In order to actually be reimbursed by the state, you have to at least nominally spend the money and then you get reimbursed. So this is in addition to the existing committed 30,000 from CPC. The two numbers together cover the project. Without this, we don't have a project.
Okay, so although we'll be spending 100,000, we will get reimbursed.
Like the next day, or however the accountant
Okay.
does that, it's a procedural.
All right, thank you.
It's not a cost really.
Great, thank you. Thank you, Mr. Clements. Motion made and seconded, all in favor? 5-0. All right.
So I'm sorry, that was a place and recommend for that one?
Place and recommend, yep,
Okay.
thank you. Article 15, to see if the town will vote and raise and appropriate or appropriate by transfer from available funds, sum of money in the amount of $25,000 to replenish the conservation fund.
So they have to.
Excuse me, Mr. Chair, I'm wondering if we should take a break?
Yep, how about we break, 10-minute break?
Talking about these one, this one.
5.
5's good. Yeah.
All right.
We're taking a 5-minute break.
5-minute recess.
Yeah.
Back from a 5-minute recess. While we were recessing, we were informed by the town clerk that we need to place all articles. So I want to go back to, I think it was
Article 13.
Article 13.
I'd like to make a motion to place Article 13, Mr. Chairman.
Second.
Moved and seconded, all in favor? 5-0. And the reason why we're doing this is just because, by law, we have to have the warrant posted. And any articles that we want to pass over or withdraw, we can pass over, at town meeting floor. All right? With that being said, we are on Article, 16, correct? Or 15? To see, Article 15 is to see if the town will vote and raise and appropriate or appropriate by transfer from available funds a sum of money in the amount of $25,000 to replenish the conservation fund.
I'd like to make a motion to place and recommend Article 15.
Second.
Moved and seconded, all in favor? 5-0. Article 16, to see if the town will vote and appropriate and/or transfer from available funds to the Whitman-Hanson Regional School District for capital improvements and purchases as follow on the matrix: district vehicles, telephone system, roadway repairs, parking lot repairs, rooftop units, reimbursements, for rooftop units, gym floor refinish, and boiler water line freeze reimbursement.
I'd like to make a motion to place Article 16.
To
Second.
place,
Yeah, are we, I mean, with all those dollars and cents, I thought we'd wait until we have,
nope, that's fine.
FinCom here to make that decision?
Yes.
Is that okay?
Yep,
Yes,
that's fine. I just wanted to confirm.
Okay.
I'll second it.
Moved and seconded, all in favor, 5-0. Article 17, to see if the town will vote and appropriate by transfer from community preservation funds a sum of money in the amount of $30,000 to fund the replacement of the fence at the Poteri Baseball Field Complex that separates the Little League, field from the Highway Department.
I'm just reading this explanation before I say something.
Through you, Mr. Chair.
Ms. Kevin?
There is no Conservation Protection Committee, although it sounds wonderful. It should be Community Preservation Committee.
Okay, CPC. Thank you.
No card. Okay, I'd like to make a motion to place Article 17.
So moved.
All right, moved and seconded, all in favor? 5-0. Article 18, to see if the town will vote to appropriate transfer from available funds a sum of money to fund the existing outreach for seniors position at the Council of Aging, or take any relation thereto.
I'd like to make a motion to place Article 18.
Second.
Moved and seconded, all in favor? 5-0. Article 19, to see if the town will vote to amend the wage and personnel bylaws, Article 2-12, classification and compensation by deleting section 11E and inserting a new section 11E as shown below.
I'd like to make a motion to place and recommend Article 19.
Second.
Moved and seconded, all in favor? 5-0. Article 20, to see if the town will vote to amend the wage and personnel bylaws, Article 2-12, classification and compensation by deleting section 11A and inserting a new section 11A as printed below.
I'd like to make a motion to place and recommend Article 20.
Second.
Can't,
Um,
I'm sorry, Mr. Chair, can't we put Article
Yeah.
20 in with Article,
So it's in there twice, so we'll consolidate that, and we'll remove Article 20, because it's
All right.
already in the special.
all right, so that's 2 down.
So then we're gonna need a, motion to remove Article 20, if that's what you wanna do.
Second.
Moved and seconded, all in favor? 5-0. Article 21, to see if the town will vote to elevate, pardon? Sorry. Okay. Article 21, to see if the town will vote to elevate the conservation agent to a full-time position and fund said position.
I'd like to make a motion to place Article 21.
Second.
Please, Ms. Kevin?
But again, is that covered back in our,
Well,
Matrix.
it's covered in the matrix, but it doesn't specify that it's full-time. In the bylaw, it does have both part-time and full-time, and then it has the range.
so where, if I'm a taxpayer, which I am, and I'm sitting at town meeting, how am I gonna know what the bottom line is? How's this gonna hit me? What's the dollar amount?
So the conservation agent, they have between 35,000 and 89,000. So if we elevate it to full-time, we have to look at what the part-time conservation agent is making now, and then add from that, he's made 19 hours currently.
19 currently,
So
it's
he would
proposed
be,
35, so
it would be
yes.
increased to 35.
So do we know what that dollar, I guess what I'm trying to say is, what is the dollar amount that we're asking people to vote on?
And what's the dollar amount, what's the funding source? I think right now is not the time to do this.
If I may, Mr. Chairman?
Mr. Clemens?
There's been a discussion among the various parties on this. The actual underlying point is that all the other regulatory departments on the second floor have full-time heads. We do not. We have the same number of hours we had now there was 2 recessions ago, in 2010, we took a hit We have not come back, and I hit probably remiss on the part of the town, and everything else, but, we can't provide the services that are required of us with 19 hours a week. We simply can't. So that's why we're revisiting all of the math around this. If the math is easily done, the dollar amount is easily calculated, not by me sitting here right now, I don't have the numbers, but the salary right now is known, and if we simply expanded that to the larger number of hours, we can do that math, we would know the number. As far as the source, I would bow to people who know more than I do about how to identify the different sources. I realize it's one of the worst times possible to propose this, but not to propose it would be irresponsible, I think, on the part of meeting the town's needs for conservation services.
Can we vote to place this and gather more information, before we do anything about it? Because I'd also want to hear what FinCom has to say about it, you know, that, all that, so.
And by the way, conservation is willing to consider things like, if 25,000 was asked for the conservation fund, what if we scaled that back to a number that's more in line with what we've been asking for in previous years, such as for this fiscal year, come closer to reality, but in the same department, if not exactly the same line.
Sure. Mr. Weeks?
So, Article 21 moves it from 19 to full-time. Article 22 moves it from 35 to 89, which is reflected in the special town meeting, Article 6, which already has it in there.
That's what I was saying.
That's what I was trying to get at.
Exactly, yeah.
Sorry, I'm trying to be quicker on the draw to try and jump in there for you. I think it's already here. So I think all of these, because if you vote in Article 6 at special town meeting, you've already changed the line item in the matrix, which makes Article 21 and Article 22 moot because it's already done.
That's what I was trying to say.
All right, so, so should we just place, so what's your, suggestion, Ms. Kemet?
Well, could we have Lisa verify that that in fact is true? We don't want to remove the articles and then unwittingly find out that we've just blown it by doing so.
Yeah. I think you vote to place them, because again, you
I
can always
agree.
withdraw them.
Yep.
Right,
And that's, rather be safe than sorry at this point, it's too close.
yep. So, all right, so, I think there was a motion,
Yes.
And it was seconded.
and it was seconded, all in favor to place? 5-0. Article 22, to see if the town will vote to amend the wage and personnel bylaws, Article 2-12, classification of compensation by revising Section 11A, professional positions, line E, conservation agent, by inserting a new range, 11E, to reflect 35,000 to 89,000.
I'd like to make a motion to place Article 22.
Second.
Moved and seconded, all in favor? 5-0.
That's not the same one as the library director?
This is, we just got, we're gonna have to look into this. We may end up having, similar to the library, remove it, but we don't want to remove it and find out we unwittingly did something we shouldn't have.
Right.
All right, Article 23, to see if the town will vote to create the position of grant writer slash procurement officer with an annual salary of $60,000 to $75,000. The position would be funded and filled at a later date when the budget funds are available and approved by town meeting. Proposed by Economic Development Committee.
I don't like this one either,
We're not funding it.
right?
We're just saying there might at some point be a position that we would like to have, and we're trying to get sort of that idea out there. And Lisa's got some additional work that she needs to do to, substantiate how much money our grant writers in other towns bringing in, before we would ever propose that we actually fill the position.
Okay, I'll make a motion to place Article 23.
I will second it, but before we vote, this is another one. It says grant writer in here, same, looks like the same range. So, do we,
In here?
Yeah, but this is creating the position?
no, I'm fine with it. I guess for procedurally,
Are we ticking and
yeah,
tying all
like,
these things?
if the way this article's written in the special town meeting, Article 6, if the town votes to do this, because it says to delete in its entirety, and then inserting the new section, and we're literally just doing all of this already, so I definitely place it just to be safe, but I feel like a lot of these articles can actually be removed, because in the special town meeting, you're already deleting and reinserting all of these things. So I would just run that by Lisa, just for the sake of it, for ease, because you might be able to remove like 4 or 5 articles.
Yeah, so what we do, we'll send this to Kate, to town council, again, they review, they review it all, and they'll let us know what we can combine and remove.
Yeah.
Okay, great, thank you.
We need a vote on 23.
Vote on 23, all in favor? 5-0. Article 24, to see if the town will vote to adopt Mass General Law, Chapter 64L, Section 2A, to impose a meals tax of 0.75% to take effect October 1st, 2022.
I'd like to make a motion to place and recommend Article 24.
So this is my own personal thing. I'm gonna be the one rogue on this one. I have to vote that not to recommend, I mean, I don't wanna recommend it because at the last meeting, the town voted not to recommend it, so I feel icky doing it again. I do support this. I think it's a great idea and it should have passed.
So
I
we can
just-
separate the motions.
Yeah.
So let me revise my motion. I'll make a motion to place Article 24. And we can vote on that, and then we can vote to recommend, and then he can.
Yeah, thank you. Appreciate it. So I'll second that.
Moved and seconded, all in favor? 5-0.
And for the record, I do agree with this. It's just procedure.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a recommendation to support Article 24. Second.
Moved and seconded by Mr. Hickey. And then just for a conversation piece, I think the town, just to clarify, at the time, I believe that the town said, not at this time, because we're still going through the
Yes.
pandemic.
Yes.
Table it.
And they wanted to table it. So I don't think that, it's inappropriate to bring the topic back up as we're going into post-COVID world. So I think that might be okay, if that helps with any explanation for anyone out there who, might be a little bit wary of it. So with that being said, moved and seconded, all in favor? 4, and then opposed, or you can abstain.
Opposed or
Abstaining,
abstaining?
Okay.
referring to town meeting, I guess.
And then,
Right, yeah.
401.
Yeah.
Okay.
As a citizen, though, as a citizen, I'm 100% for this. I think we absolutely should do this.
All right. Article 25, to see if the town will vote to require all elected and appointed boards to videotape their meetings.
I'd like to make a motion to place Article 25.
Second.
Moved and seconded. And then, I just have a quick question for this one. If we're gonna require them to videotape their meetings, should we also put in there something along the lines that, to be shared with community access?
I love it. That's great, because if they videotape them and take them home and keep them in their private safe, then that doesn't do any good to anybody. So can we tweak the article to say, to see if the town will vote to require our elected and appointed boards to videotape their meetings and make them publicly available, as soon as administratively feasible? I just whipped that one up. I don't
That-
even
that
know if
works.
it makes sense. Okay.
Mr. Chair?
Mr. Clements?
The resources needed to accomplish that technical task, where will those come from?
They will come from Whitman Hanson Cable Access.
Each board would be taught how to use the camera, and they can record their own meetings.
The camera that exists in this room?
Yes, no, not in this room.
No.
Upstairs in the office, there's camera kits that you can take up to your meeting, and then you would record it and then bring it back.
As chair of a committee, I fear the workload that creates. We only have part-time help. We have volunteer people on it, on the Conservation Commission. I love the idea of doing it. I'm somewhat daunted by the extra work it will create on top of the work we already have. If it was in this room and didn't have to be retrieved and this and that, great. It's a barrier to successfully living up to the idea that we have. It's nowhere near as straightforward as it ought to be, at least in my experience. Perhaps I need to learn more, but people who are involved in these things are out pretty straight as it is. I would love to have it become more streamlined and feasible. That's all.
Ms. Diaz?
The camera kit upstairs includes a tripod, very small camera, you turn it on and press record, that's it.
And
As long as
And you would
our,
get training.
as long as our part-time staff can absorb that effort, yes.
Absolutely.
Ms. Diaz, just a follow-up question on that. So they record it, they put it back in the kit, they bring it back upstairs.
Yes.
Is someone from Cable Access gonna come and pick it up?
Once we're notified, if this passes and we know when the meetings are gonna be, then it would be a regular thing. We would know who has meetings on Monday, who has meetings on Tuesday, to retrieve it and put it up.
All right.
Yes.
Mr. Tarvis?
Just 2 points. One would be, there's definitely enough cameras to go around if there were multiple
Oh,
people
there are,
recording
there
at the same time.
There are,
Okay.
yes.
And the second thing too, I don't know if this is even possible, but if for some reason there was an issue with being recorded, somebody's learning how to use a camera or something, the whole board not being able to do it, which is really easy, you just press record. What about doing audio? Simply on a voice recorder is still the same thing. You're not having the video, but you're still having full audio footage of everything that happened. It's very simple to also upload it, whether it's to community access or even to something like archive.org, which is, open and public.
I would be open to amending it. I was the one who proposed it, and honestly, the reason I did it is because although years ago, we encouraged boards and committees to videotape, very few decided to do that. Some, it may have been a resource issue or a learning curve. And some, I fear, it may have been really just that lack of feeling compelled to be transparent and share what's going on. And I think, time and time again, this board is like, we need volunteers, we need people to be engaged, and yet we're not sharing information. We're not telling people what happens at the meetings. And so you have this huge learning curve. If you want to join one of the committees or commissions, you've got to kind of like put your tap shoes on and figure it out on your own, do all kinds of reading and forensically go back and look at minutes. And I also think there's a degree of keeping people a bit more accountable when they know they're being recorded and videotaped. I think people's behavior is more appropriate and keeping with the way that it should be in a public meeting. And I just think it's what we're all about, which is getting the information out to the public. So I don't have a problem with it saying to see if the town will vote to require all elected and appointed boards to videotape and/or audio tape their meetings for public, whatever I said before, because I just can't even remember.
Administratively possible.
For public, for sharing with the public as soon as administratively feasible through our website and/or through Whitman Hanson Cable Access as appropriate. And please don't make me repeat that, Lucia, because I don't think I can.
Well, hey, luckily it's recorded on,
Exactly.
yeah. Ms. Green?
Mr. Chair, yes, I just, so our town council makes a suggestion that this be reworded in the form of a bylaw. She just gave the suggestion but not give any language, so I will work with her if the board is in favor of rewording this to make it part of our general bylaw. I can work with town council on that.
I'm fine, if you can just throw in those little tweaks that we discussed tonight.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Perfect. All right,
So that said, we should still place it until we get,
and then, yeah, just place it, and then we'll
Yeah.
review it and
Yeah.
recommend. So, looking for a motion to place.
Yep, we just gotta vote.
Okay, all in favor? 5-0. All right, we're halfway through. Article 26, to see if the town will vote to amend the bylaw of the town of Hanson to change the title of Board of Selectmen to Select Board as follows, or take any relation thereto.
I'd like to make a motion to place and recommend Article 26.
Second.
Moved and seconded, all in favor? 5-0. Yep, okay. Article 27, to see if the town will vote to reduce the number of members of the Recreation Commission from 7 members to 5.
I'd like to make a motion to place and recommend Article 27.
Second.
Moved and seconded, all in favor? 5-0. Article 28, to see if the town will vote to fund the position of an event coordinator and facilities manager at Camp Kawani and take any relation to.
I'd like to make a motion to place Article 28 only.
I
Ms.
think
Kemp?
this falls into the
Probably does.
kind of theme of is this redundant? Do we need to have it here if we've got it in the special town meeting warrant with the matrix?
All right, so,
Second.
moved and seconded, all in favor? 5-0. Article 29, to see if the town will vote to commission a study regarding town hall administrative staff and efficiencies that might be gained by cross-training and shared software.
I can make a motion to place Article 29.
Second.
All right. And I guess my question right now for Ms. Green is, are we going to have enough time to get a figure for this study?
I don't believe we will
You know
have
what?
time to have
This,
figure.
again, this was
Yeah.
one of my articles. I will, vote to remove this article. But with the proviso that, we revisit it in October.
All
Sure.
right, so I have a motion for
Second.
withdrawal.
So I will withdraw my motion
Yep.
of placing Article 29.
Will you second my motion to remove it?
I will second your motion to remove it.
All right, moved by Ms. Kemet, second by Mr. Mitchell, to remove Article 29. Article 30, to see if the,
I'm just gonna vote.
oh, sorry, yeah, I'm just in my head, just
Yeah, I know.
chopping along.
You're moving
here.
along.
Yeah, all right, all in favor? 5-0. Thank you. Article 30, to see if the town will vote to amend the Town of Hanson zoning bylaws to amend Section 6 to repeal and replace subsection L, medical marijuana facilities, and subsection M, marijuana establishments, to combine the two subsections and update the language accordingly, more particularly to describe in the bylaw changes on file with the town clerk as the posting hereof.
I'd like to make a motion to place Article 30.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Ms. Green, was there,
This should say proposed by the planning board.
okay, planning
Board of
board.
Selectmen, so we'll update that.
All right, moved and seconded. All in favor? 4, and, abstain? 4-0-1.
We got two articles left, believe it or not.
Oh, I'm sorry, Matt, that's just a place.
This is
I'm
just
sorry,
zoning.
Chair.
This
Yeah.
is just zoning.
I'll 5-0.
Okay. So, just to revote,
sorry,
Article
see it.
27.
Article 30.
Is it 30? Thank you.
This one we
Article-
did?
Yep.
Yeah.
All in favor of just placing Article 30? 5-0.
I was still trying to read the explanation. It's very confusing.
Bring it home.
All right, Article 31, to see if the town will vote to amend the Town of Hanson zoning bylaws by amending Section 6 subsection M, marijuana establishments, to allow for marijuana retailers by special permit in districts identified in subsection 6M.4, and any relation to.
I'd like to make a motion to place Article 31.
Second.
Moved and seconded, all in favor? 4-0.
No, I'm voting no.
Voting no,
Yeah,
4-1.
I'm not recommending it.
It's just a
No, no,
place,
this is
just a
place.
place.
I don't care.
Okay.
Okay,
Yeah.
4-1. Article 32, to see if the town will vote to amend the Town of Hanson zoning bylaws by amending Section 6 subsection M, marijuana establishments, to add Hawks Avenue to the list of eligible locations for marijuana establishments. Any relation to?
And again, I don't think that's proposed by the Board of Selectmen. We didn't submit
No,
that
it's planning
article.
board.
That's by the planning board.
I don't know why it's all the Selectmen.
It's gonna be the same for Article 33 as well.
All right,
I'm not gonna make that motion on Article 32, Mr. Chair.
I don't have an article.
I'll make a motion to place Article 32 on the warrant.
all right.
Second.
Moved and seconded, all in favor? 3, opposed? 2, 3-2.
Thank you.
All right. I think that's probably our first 3-2 in a while. All right, Article 33, to see if the town will vote to amend the Hanson zoning bylaws by amending Section 6 subsection M, marijuana establishments, to allow for marijuana delivery operators and marijuana carriers, industrial zones, and other certain eligible locations described therein, and any relation to. And this is proposed by planning.
I'd like to make a motion to place Article 34?
33.
33, sorry.
Second.
Moved and seconded?
33.
All in favor? 5-0.
Two left.
And I know there's one more, a couple more. Article 34, to see if the town will vote to authorize the Board of Selectmen to enter into a maximum 20-year lease of a 3.8 acre portion of town-owned property, including the warehouse-style buildings thereon, located at 100 Hawks Avenue, despite the, as depicted as a portion of Lot 1 on plan entitled Plan of Land Hawk Ave in Hanson, Massachusetts, August 24, 2018, prepared for GIA Consultants, 400 Unicorn Park, Woburn, Mass, by Land Planning Incorporated, 1115 Main Street, Hanson. Job number P-2992, on file with the town clerk's office for the purposes of commercial and industrial use, and take any relation to.
Mr. Chairman, I'm not gonna, recommend this article either, I'm sorry.
Okay.
I'll make a motion to place Article 34 on the warrant.
Second.
Moved and seconded, all in favor? 4, opposed? 1.
Thank you.
Article 35, to see if the town will vote to propose the initiative.
Sure is news.
You got news?
To see if the,
Get rid of them.
and that's my father, just for the folks at home. To see if the town will vote the proposed initiative petition to amend the current recall, Chapter 93 of the Acts of 2019 as follow, or take any action in relation to.
I'd like to make a motion to place Article 35.
Second.
You guys want to place or recommend it?
I want to defer this to town meeting. It's a citizen's petition.
Yes, it is a petition. Yeah.
Good point. So we have to place it, so.
Right,
Just
yeah.
to play, okay.
Yeah.
All right,
So just to place, I'm sorry.
I have a motion,
Second.
second, all in favor? 5-0.
Thanks, Laura.
And that is annual town meeting.
Wow.
Good job, Mr. Chair. Yeah, definitely. Of the 26, we have some work to do.
So actually, we do this.
You scared me at 25 when you said we were halfway through.
Well, it's 50 altogether, so in my head, I was
No, that was good,
backwards.
because he psyched us up for that.
Yeah.
All right, old business. This is to revisit the live entertainment license for Hanson Tavern Incorporated, DBA J&R's Indian Pub, with specific times. Ms. Green, were you able to go back and just kind of compare the license, to compare the licenses with neighboring establishments?
Yes, so neighboring establishments seem to, they appeared to have licenses, Wednesday through Saturday, from about, some had 9 PM to midnight, some had, like 8 PM. So they had some staggering, but we did contact Mr. Rice and ask them to kind of, minimize what they had. So they did do that, and we do have a new copy of a license application for, I believe it was Wednesday through Saturday.
He just added the times on the actual.
Oh, we added the.
Yeah, I mean, they should have a copy.
Yeah, I would have it.
Yeah, so he did add, so he did narrow the times on the application. Wednesday through Saturday, 8 PM to 12:30 AM, Sunday, 3 PM to 7 PM.
So moved. Moved.
Second.
Seconded. All in favor? 5-0. And thank you very much, Mr. Rice, for working with us on this. I know it's kind of frustrating to come back. Old business, Green Hanson Earth Fest vendor discussion. I just wanted to come back to the board real quick and just see if it was the will of the board to see if it's okay just to get a use agreement written up by town council.
I'm totally fine with that.
So this way, it's not a free blanket, well, you let this person use it, why can't I go? So at least we have some control over what people could sell on the town green.
Yeah, that I'd be okay with.
So I think maybe,
Just consistency is the key.
consistency is key, and family-friendly, I think, is the most important
Oh, God,
kind
yes.
of standard to set.
Yes, good point.
So I'm looking for a motion,
So
moved,
Second.
seconded, all in favor? 5-0. All right, number 3, confirm vacancy for the North River Commission, Donna Freehill. Ms. Green, what did you
So,
find out?
During the last, meeting, there was just a question on whether there was a vacancy, and there is a vacancy. And the board had considered, I thought she had come.
She was
Donna
here.
was here.
Yeah.
Yes, the board had considered her, and if the board wants to move forward with appointing her, there is a vacancy to be filled on that.
So moved.
Moved, seconded, all in favor? 5-0. And, approve open session meeting minutes for December 4th, 2021. I'll be abstaining because I was absent.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor? 4-0-1. And the town administrator's report.
Yes, Mr. Chair. All right, so it's only been a week since the last town administrator report, so this will be a little short. First and foremost, at our last meeting, I had made a statement regarding the Whitman Hanson assessment, school district assessment to the town of Hanson. I had made some statements regarding a February 16 document that was sent to us that on it, it says Hanson operating assessment. However, it was brought to my attention that that was just a proposed and an initial assessment. That was not the formal assessment to the town of Hanson by the Whitman Hanson Regional School District and School Committee. So I do want to just correct that statement, that it was just the document I was given that was dated 2/16 was just an initial and a proposed assessment, not the formal assessment, which we received on March 16th. So I do want to clarify that.
Thank you for that.
And that it was brought to my attention. Second, I just want to say that, Selectman Kemet and myself had a meeting with Ann Donner, who we are speaking to regarding the strategic plan. She had some questions on, thoughts and visions so that she could put together a proposal for us, and get us a scope of work and a budget for that. So, we did have that meeting, and hopefully by Friday, we'll have a scope of work and a budget, for a strategic plan. Also, last week, Tony DeFrayis, town planner, and myself met again with Tracy Costa and Jeff Lampert from Strategic Environmental Services regarding the one-step shop program, the grant program. And what we did was we went to each of the sites that are the focus of each of the grants that we're looking at, so that they could take pictures and make notes of the areas around there and then have a visuals. When you're filling out these applications, it really helps to have a visual of the area you're talking about, because then you can put a story behind it and you can put emotion into it. So we took them around to all the areas, and they really think that it's going to be really beneficial to the town of Hanson to do that, because not all towns do that. They don't take that extra step to actually see the location. And then be able to put a story behind it and talk about the surroundings and the town as a whole. So, that was very, very beneficial, and we did it in the pouring rain, so it was definitely, a nature walk for sure. And again, our office is very busy all day. We have residents who come in to see us, who need help with a number of different things. Lucia and I do the best we can to help them or direct them to the departments that can help them. Most of them leave satisfied and happy with the service, and that's what we strive to do, is provide every resident, vendor, anyone who comes into our office with excellent service. And that's what we continue to do. We have a really great team here, so. And also working on the warrant and getting ready for town meeting. A lot of moving pieces. We're also actually putting together all the reports for the annual town report, which Lucia will be delivering to the printer either tomorrow, so that we can have our annual town report ready for town meeting. So that's my town administrator report for this week.
Any questions from the board?
Thanks, Lisa.
Yes, I did. Ms. Green, last week, we had, at the very end of our meeting, Mr. Perkins get up and speak about the investigation, and there were allegations that, were thrown about missing documents, and that somehow had the selectmen done something, had our office done something, and I'm wondering if you've had time to look into that since our meeting last week.
Yes. So, basically, there was a, oh, we have to do this, okay. I'll talk about that, and then we need to circle back to the warrant. So there was some, discussions on that. As we talked about the disclosure procedure prior to me coming on board, that the Board of Selectmen office didn't regularly receive disclosures and then didn't acknowledge them in meetings. During an open meeting recently, it was discussed, and the board said, yes, we'd like to see disclosures and we'd like to acknowledge them. So going forward from that day, that's what we had done. Prior to that, our office really had no reason to hold on to disclosures or even collect disclosures. So disclosures were brought, have always been filed with the town clerk. And when a request came for that one particular disclosure, the town clerk has said, I had misplaced it. There was no ill will, there was no conspiracy, there was, basically was no motive to hide it or lose it or misplace it.
But to be clear, the individual who submitted it got a receipt from the town clerk's
Yes.
office.
Yes.
The town clerk, had scanned in the documents, to people, so we had scanned copies. There was a receipt that the applicant had received. And I think we were put a bit on the spot, because I didn't even know really what he was talking about, it was, like, we weren't posted to talk about it, so I wasn't kind of expecting that we were gonna be talking about it. And I was thinking that there was a reference to like a recent disclosure that had been made, but that wasn't the case. It was something from back in July, and I don't think any of us, like, had our minds thinking back in July, of something. And so I just wanna clarify, because, there were some statements made that were troubling to me, that somehow the selectmen or the town administrator had something to do, that it was political. And when I called the town clerk's office, I was told it was literally a mistake at the town clerk's office. Like, we had it, it just had not been refiled because it had been pulled to be scanned. And so I just wanted to make sure that the record was straight on that.
Yes, I mean, there was a statement that a disclosure was hand-delivered to the office in July. We had another executive assistant in the office in July. If it was handed to the executive assistant, I don't know where it would have gone, because we didn't have a process. Oh, okay, at that time, we didn't have a process for disclosures. If it came in and was handed to the executive assistant, I don't know what she would have done with it, or she didn't come in and say, what do we do with this disclosure? She might have just put it somewhere. I was not aware of where it was put.
Okay, but the point is, there are not disclosures that are missing.
No,
Okay.
no.
And
The disclosure that was misplaced was relocated with the town clerk, and she said, I found it, and I forwarded to whoever was looking for it.
And I think that most people at home know our town clerk, Ms. Sloan. And we all know that
Yes.
she is she is the utmost person, a great example of what a municipal employee should be. She cares about the town.
High
She just
integrity.
yes. She has high integrity. She's the most ethical person that I know around. And there's no political will with Ms. Sloan. And I think she does a great job, and this was just truly a mistake. Not one person in this room has gone through their life without making a mistake. So to make those falsehoods against her and those false allegations against her or our office was definitely based on nothing. And that we know that we're all human. So with that being said, any other questions for Ms. Green for?
Motion to adjourn.
We have one other.
She had
So,
something else, Kenny.
Glad this little tap caught my attention. The town clerk did give me this, it does need to go on the annual town meeting warrant at the very end, although it's not really considered an article. But, a vote does have to happen on this particular language. So if, Mr. Chair, if you'd like to read this, for the warrant?
All right. All right. So it reads, I'm looking for a motion to have the election hours set. And bringing in the votes for the following office: a selectman for 3 years, a selectman for a remaining 2-year term, an assessor for 3 years, a town clerk for 3 years, a board of health member for 3 years, a cemetery commissioner for 3 years, a member of the planning board for 5 years, 2 trustees of the public library for 3 years, 2 members of the Whitman-Hanson Regional School District, pre-K through 12, for 3 years, and 2 water commissioners for 3 years at the annual town election to be held on May 21st, 2022.
So moved.
Second.
Moved and there was one line missing there. May 21st, 2022, at the Hanson Middle School from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m.
Is that going in as an article?
I was
'Cause
gonna
do
ask
we have to
that,
open up
yeah.
the warrant again to put that on?
It was
as an
in there,
article?
but it didn't have an article number. It was
That's
at the
the
very
issue.
end of
We have to open the warrant to put an article on.
no, it's in there.
Yeah, it is, I remember seeing in there.
So that is actually not an article,
Okay.
according to the town clerk. It's not an article, but that language, that
it's always
that little
like in the
section
back.
has to be in the back, and it
Yeah.
has to be read and
It's like
voted
the
on.
last, because when you get to that, you're like,
Yeah.
oh, town meeting's over.
No, yeah, as you were reading it, it makes sense, but we don't have to open up the warrant to place that language in it?
It's
We can
in
just do
there.
it? So it's there?
It was
Just have to
in
read it
there,
out
because
loud?
I read it and I almost asked you whether we were gonna number
Yeah.
it as an
Yeah, that's it,
article.
I saw it too.
Yeah.
It's more of an announcement?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, but it has to be voted on,
The
though.
terms that are coming up,
I'll have to
what's
vote
new
for it.
terms and.
So it does, but it does have to be voted on. I took the notes down
So
from
do
the
we
town clerk.
need to vote to place it in the town? Okay, I mean, it's already in there, but
Place.
Vote to place.
Okay. So I'm looking for a motion to place, the previous statement made.
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded, all in favor, 5-0.
Motion to adjourn, Mr.
Motion
Chairman?
to,
somebody's jonesing to
I
get home.
object. Can I object that?
Yes.
If I could indulge the board for a few minutes. I wanted to bring this up, and Mr. Chair, as you know, anything that happens within the last 48 hours, unbeknownst to the chair, can be brought up at a meeting.
and can I ask this?
Yes.
Is this, time sensitive where we cannot wait until next,
Yes.
meeting? Okay,
Yes.
proceed.
Because we're not meeting for 2 weeks.
Yep,
so-
no, proceed.
Last Monday night, I had a conversation with Paula Hatch. And Paula Hatch is the chairwoman of the Silver Lake Regional School District. We spoke on the phone for about 40 minutes, and, you know, it was just me. You know, it's got nothing to do with being a selectman or being the chair of the deregionalization committee, feasibility committee. While we're waiting for TMS, I'm looking for other options. You know, a few years ago, you know, at the high school, you know, they changed the methodology, I'm not gonna be able to say it. They changed the method that we use. And then maybe a month ago, there was the busing issue, which got me to
Circuit breaker, don't forget that,
to think that, you know, for me, I have to look at other options. So, before, I talk to Paula again, I wanted to get the approval of the board to possibly check this option out. I just feel that, you know, the agreement is 30 years old. We tried to review it and go over it and make a new one. It didn't work out. And, you know, so now we're working on 30 years. With the situation that's been going on, and this is my own personal opinion, that Whitman is jamming this stuff down our throat. And for me personally, I want to do the best I can for the citizens of this town, and for the students. And I think this is possibly a viable option, and I just want to pursue it. But I don't want to go any further unless I have the blessing of the board.
What is it you need from us?
He just wants
Just
to,
a vote.
yeah, because he doesn't want to be swinging in the breeze by
Right,
himself,
I-
saying he's just doing this on his
You know.
own.
I just don't, yeah, I don't want to think anyone to think I'm going rogue, and then, 6 months down the road, you guys find out I did all this information, and look at this, and it will work, or it won't work. I just think we need to pursue other options. And whether it's going on our own, which TMS is looking into, whether it's joining Silver Lake, or possibly, Bridgewater, Hanover, whoever. I mean, if we joined Abington, it'd be pretty tough to have a football game, but, I just think as a board, or at least for me, I want to pursue other options.
Ms. Kevin?
So I don't have a problem with it. I do wish that, you would come to us before you did it, but there's nothing we can do about that. I don't necessarily have a problem with pursuing it, but I guess my question is, since we don't have the results of that TMS study yet, then how are we gonna know whether it's even economically feasible for us to de-regionalize and much less go and join another school? Like, I just feel like sequentially, that TMS, I know you could have, like, just start preliminary talks in parallel. I do wonder what it does to the partnership, and I know, insert heavy eye roll from people who don't believe that we've got a partnership, but I do worry about what it does with the partnership with the district and with Whitman. I'm not saying we don't have a right or even maybe an obligation to explore other things, but I guess it's fine, but I'm not sure how much further we can really take it until we get that TMS number and we can really boil down, like, oh boy, this isn't even economically feasible for us to pull out, because it's just not gonna work.
Right, and Laura, you make great points, but, discussion-wise, for Paula and I to continue these conversations, it's not costing the town anything. Insert heavy eye roll here, I like that one. Whitman already knows, because we did the deregionalization feasibility committee, we had the study, now TMS, which they know this, is that TMS has given us the financials. Whitman knows we're not happy, the school knows we're not happy. I don't want to keep it a secret.
So I guess my question, again, through you, Mr. Chair, I'm sorry, is, can we sit down with Whitman and say, we're not happy, we want something else, like, this isn't working for us, and maybe it's not working for you either, Whitman, I don't know, I think there's some from Whitman that would argue that, but, so I guess I'm just wondering, like, is that another track to look at, is like, do we talk about opening up that regional agreement? Do we talk about getting more representation, which I know we've all talked about? Do we talk about, it not feeling like we're constantly the ones that are kind of not part of the discussion, but getting handed the bill? Which it just sort of keeps feeling this way over and over again. So I don't know. I mean, I don't have a problem with you talking to Paula or whoever.
I have no problem. Talks are talks. I have no problem with it, with talking. I think it's fine. My only thing that jumps to my mind is, through the talks, when you get the per pupil of the statutory method, if we're the richer town, we're right back into the same boat that we were in. And if we have more kids, we're right back into the same boat that we're in. So we want to make sure that no matter what we do, it's beneficial, obviously, to us. So, there's nothing wrong with talks. I just want to make sure that the talks are fruitful and we just don't find ourselves pulling out and going into a very similar regional agreement,
Yep.
I obviously trust you, that you can do what you need to
Same with
do.
me, I'm fine with it.
We don't need a vote or anything, right?
I just wanted the board's blessing, I guess, because it's, I mean,
It's something that's been bothering you for a while, because you've talked about it with me a few times.
so, and I have no problem sitting down, with Whitman if they wanted to go over the whole thing again. It needs to be fixed, we need to fix it, so,
Maybe at some point, we should talk about broadening the scope to the deregionalization feasibility study to let's just look at the school situation and what we should be doing. Like, not necessarily deregionalization, maybe joining another school, maybe renegotiating, but just looking at that in its entirety.
Well, I personally think that we have the next year, really, to figure out right now, some big things. Recreation, transfer station, school.
Yep.
We have a runway a little bit right now with ARPA funds potentially, that'll give us a little bit of some leeway, but we really have to spend the next 12 months really kind of going over with a microscope, everything. So this is just right up that alley.
Great, so Mr. Mitchell.
Motion to adjourn.
So moved. Second.
Oh, did Joe get that
All
one
in
in?
favor? 5-0.